It was the Garstang Oxon Group that was responsible for making Garstang a fair trade town, and therefore starting off the whole fair trade towns movement. And we set up as the Oxon Group in 1992 when we had our first meeting, which was just myself, my wife and the babysitter. I always think it's important that people should never underestimate the power of what can come out of such small roots in the first place. And we got bigger, and through the 90s we campaigned on many things, many Oxfam issues to do with international development. But fair trade was always one that was a favourite of ours, and that was for two reasons. One was what we were campaigning on was a very simple message. Here in the northwest of England, we made the message of fair trade about a fair day's pay for a fair day's work. That was something that people in the northwest of England could really relate to as the home of the British labour movement. And then the second thing was, when people understood the message, they knew what they could do about it. We weren't asking them to sign a petition or go on a march. We were just asking to change the brand of tea, coffee or chocolate. What could be simpler than that? In fact, what could be more pleasurable? But despite both these points, our campaign through the 90s wasn't succeeding. We were failing to reach out across the community. And again, it's important to understand that this incredibly successful international fair trade towns movement that we have now was born out of the frustration of a small campaign that was failing to reach people. We were failing to get across to the local authority, to the schools, even to the churches. But we persevered, and in the year 2000, in Fair Trade Fortnight, we decided we'd get all the people we were failing to reach, all the heads of the schools, the heads of the churches, the council, the chamber of trade, and we put them into a room and we gave them a meal made up of fair trade and local produce, because we wanted to recognise that local farmers too were struggling to get a fair price for their products. And we didn't ask them for any money, nor did we make it possible for them to give us donations. Instead, we asked them to sign a pledge form stating they would use fair trade products on the premises, and if they could do, they would sell them in their shops or restaurants or cafes or whatever. And this was a big success. We got the local authority agreeing to use fair trade products. We got all the schools, all the churches, and eventually we got 95% of all the small businesses in Garstang signing up to the pledge to either sell or use fair trade products. And then following on from that, at the public meeting, the annual public meeting held in Garstang in April of 2000, it was at that meeting where the people of Garstang voted to make us the world's first fair trade town. And it's important to emphasise this was a people declaration made at a public meeting, because in places where fair trade towns are so strong, it's always come from the grassroots. This has come from people making decisions, which then local authorities pick up on and take forward, and organisations like the Fair Trade Foundation indeed take the idea forward and start developing systems so that other people can follow suit. And we've seen that with Garstang in the UK, with Media in the USA, with Sauda in Norway, with Kumamoto in Japan. That people come together, they make the declaration, and then that sparks off the movement across the country.
So yes, I think Garstang inspired us in Keswick for all the same reasons that it inspired other campaigners all around the country, and now in however many countries, 16, 17 countries around the world. Because if it was possible to do it in Garstang, a very, very ordinary Lancashire market town, it ought to be possible to do it absolutely anywhere. It was that inspiration of, if you like, the ordinariness of Garstang that made us feel that we could do it. But also there was the huge learning that there had been from Garstang, because the Garstang story is a tough story. It wasn't a rollover to get where they got to in 2000. That campaigning group went through years of turmoil and great difficulty and great frustration to get where they did. And I have often said that the difficult birth that Garstang went through enabled others to conceive in other parts of the country. And that for me, that for us in Keswick, and that for campaigners all around the country and now all around the world has been an inspiration.